Imagine being dropped into the middle of the forest with no phone, no GPS, no food in your backpack, just you, the wilderness, and the question, can I make it through the night? That's exactly the challenge Bunny is about to face. For the next 24 hours, this clever little rabbit will show us what survival really means when the odds are stacked against you. As the sun begins to set, Bunny finds himself surrounded by towering trees and the sounds of nature echoing all around. The first instinct of any creature in the wild is to seek shelter, and Bunny is no exception. He scours the forest floor, searching for a suitable place to hide from predators and the chilling night air. After a few moments of exploration, Bunny discovers a thicket of bushes that offers both cover and protection. Nestled within the foliage, Bunny takes a moment to assess his surroundings and contemplate his predicament. With no food in his possession, the question of sustenance becomes paramount as night approaches. Bunny recalls that the forest is rich with edible plants, but the challenge lies in identifying which ones are safe to consume. As daylight begins to break through the canopy of the forest, Bunny, the resourceful rabbit, quickly scans his surroundings. The forest, bathed in the soft glow of the morning sun, feels peaceful and serene, yet Bunny knows that in survival situations, time is your most valuable resource. The first task at hand? Finding water. Without water, no living creature can endure for long, making it a priority in the quest for survival. Bunny, with his keen instincts, sets out on a mission to locate this essential element. He begins by observing subtle signs in his environment, fresh tracks etched into the soil, damp patches that indicate moisture, and the distant, melodious sound of trickling water. Each of these clues serves as a guiding beacon, leading him closer to his goal. As he hops through the underbrush, Bunny remains acutely aware of his surroundings, understanding that every moment counts in the wild. After a diligent search, he finally discovers a tiny stream, its water glistening invitingly under the sun. This moment is not merely a victory, it represents a lifeline, a crucial resource necessary for his survival. However, Bunny pauses, realizing that drinking straight from the stream may not be the safest option. This is where the wisdom of survival comes into play, a knowledge that can mean the difference between life and death. Bunny knows that water can carry unseen dangers, and thus, he must purify and filter it before taking a sip. He begins by demonstrating simple yet effective methods to ensure the water is safe for consumption. First, he shows us how to create a basic filter using natural materials found in the forest. Gathering fine sand, gravel, and charcoal, Bunny meticulously layers these materials within a hollowed-out piece of bark. This makeshift filter will help to remove impurities and sediments from the water. Next, he carefully pours the water from the stream through his filter, watching as it flows through the layers, emerging clearer on the other side. This simple act showcases the importance of resourcefulness in nature. Once the water has been filtered, Bunny proceeds to demonstrate how to purify it further. He explains that boiling the water is one of the most effective methods to eliminate harmful bacteria and pathogens. Using a small, flat stone, Bunny heats the filtered water over a gentle flame created from twigs and dried leaves. As the water begins to bubble, he emphasizes the need to bring it to a rolling boil for at least 1 minute, ensuring it is safe to drink. Bunny's diligent efforts highlight the essential steps of survival: observation, resourcefulness, and knowledge. Finally, after ensuring that the water is safe, Bunny takes a moment to appreciate the fruits of his labor. He lifts the purified water to his lips, savoring the refreshing taste, a reward for his perseverance and wisdom. In the wild, every resource must be respected and used wisely, and water is no exception. Bunny's journey illustrates the importance of survival skills, the ability to adapt, and the knowledge that can transform a potentially dangerous situation into one of safety. As he quenches his thirst, Bunny reflects on the lessons learned in the forest, ready to face whatever challenges lie ahead. With newfound energy, he sets off to explore further, equipped not only with water but with invaluable survival wisdom. Once upon a time in a quiet little forest, there lived a clever little rabbit named Benny. Benny was known for his quick thinking and resourcefulness, always finding ways to make his life a bit easier. One sunny afternoon, as the day began to wind down, Benny realized something important. The sun would set in just a few hours, and with it, the temperatures would drop dramatically. He needed to build a shelter before nightfall, and this was no time for slacking off. Now, Benny wasn't about to build a 5-star hotel for himself. He had other things in mind. What he needed was a solid barrier against the wind, rain, and of course, those pesky predators lurking around. So, he hopped around, looking for the perfect spot to set up his little home for the night. He spotted a sturdy tree with a thick trunk, just the right place to start his project. With determination, he began gathering branches and leaves, using his little paws to drag them back to the tree. It wasn't long before he had quite a pile of materials to work with, and he got straight to it. Benny started by leaning the branches against the side of the tree, forming a makeshift wall. He placed the larger branches at the bottom for support, and then layered smaller ones on top. Next, he filled in the gaps with leaves, making sure to create a snug fit that would keep the wind out. As he worked, Benny thought about how important this shelter really was. This wasn't just about finding a place to stay dry, this was about survival. He had learned that sometimes, it's not about being the strongest or the fastest. It's about using your brain and being creative with what you have. With a few more adjustments, Benny stepped back to admire his handiwork. His little shelter was cozy and inviting, just the right size for him to curl up in. But Benny didn't stop there. He knew it wasn't just about building a roof over his head. He needed to make sure it was well insulated to keep him warm through the chilly night. So, he stuffed more leaves into the crevices, creating a fluffy barrier against the cold. As the sun began to dip below the horizon, painting the sky in shades of orange and pink, Benny felt a sense of accomplishment. He had turned a pile of sticks and leaves into a safe haven, all through his own resourcefulness. With his shelter finally complete, Benny hopped inside and made himself comfortable. He nestled into the soft bed of leaves, feeling grateful for his hard work. As night fell, the forest came alive with sounds, crickets chirping, owls hooting, and the rustle of leaves in the breeze. Benny listened, his heart racing a little at the thought of the predators that might be out there. But he felt safe and secure inside his little shelter, knowing he had done his best to protect himself. In that moment, he realized that the world outside could be unpredictable and sometimes scary. But by using his creativity and resourcefulness, he could face whatever came his way. Benny closed his eyes, feeling the warmth of the leaves around him and the sturdy trunk of the tree at his back. He drifted off to sleep, dreaming of all the adventures he would have in the coming days. And as he slept, he taught us all a valuable lesson: survival isn't just about strength. It's about being clever, thinking outside the box, and making the most of what you have. So next time you find yourself in a tough situation, remember Benny the rabbit. Sometimes, all it takes is a little creativity and resourcefulness to turn things around. By afternoon, hunger sets in, creeping in like an unwelcome guest. In the wild, food is energy, and energy means life. Meet Bunny, our furry guide through this leafy adventure. He hops around, reminding us that not everything green is safe to munch on. Sure, those bright berries look tempting, but some of them can kill you faster than you can say, dinner. And let's not even get started on mushrooms. Some are deadly enough to make you wish you'd never set foot in the woods. But don't fret, Bunny's got our backs. First things first, let's learn to observe animal behavior. Animals are like nature's survival guides. They know what's safe and what's not. If you see a squirrel munching on acorns, that's a solid sign you can too. If the birds are pecking at something, it's worth checking out, but approach with caution. Now, testing small samples is key. Bunny suggests grabbing a tiny bit of whatever you find and giving it a sniff. If it smells off, toss it aside and move on. Next, do a taste test, just a little lick to see if it's safe. If your tongue doesn't fall off, you might be in luck. But remember, even if it's safe, it might not be tasty. Now, let's talk about calorie-rich sources. Nuts are a solid goldmine of energy. They're like little power packs just waiting to be cracked open. Roots can be your best friends in the wild. Digging them up might be a bit of work, but they're worth the effort. And don't underestimate insects. They might be creepy crawlers, but they're packed with protein. Bunny shows us how to safely catch a few ants or grasshoppers. Just remember to cook them up if you can, it's safer and a lot tastier too. It's not exactly a gourmet meal, but in survival, every bite counts. You gotta make do with what you've got. So, if you're ever stuck in the wild, channel your inner bunny. Stay alert, be smart about what you eat, and don't forget, survival's all about strategy. With a little bit of knowledge and a whole lot of observation, you can turn the wilderness into your buffet. And who knows, you might even find a new favorite snack along the way. So keep your eyes peeled and your tummy ready, the wild is waiting. Just remember, in this game of survival, it's all about making the right choices. Stay safe, stay smart, and happy foraging. As night falls, the forest transforms into a different world. The sun dips below the horizon, and suddenly, everything feels a bit more alive. Strange noises echo through the trees, a mix of rustling leaves and distant calls that send chills down your spine. The air grows colder, wrapping around you like a tight blanket, one that's a bit too tight and a lot too frigid. In this eerie setting, Bunny hops nervously, his big ears twitching at every sound. He knows that in the dark, the forest can be both beautiful and terrifying. But Bunny has a plan, he understands the importance of fire. It's not just about warmth, it's about safety, cooking, and keeping your mind calm when shadows loom. With a determined look in his eyes, Bunny starts collecting dry bark and twigs. Every snap of a branch under his tiny paws feels amplified in the silence of the night. He knows that creating fire isn't easy, but he's willing to put in the effort. Finding the right materials is key, soft, dry bark, and the perfect kind of twigs that catch fire easily. He puts them together in a small pile, his heart racing with anticipation. Next comes the tricky part, friction. Bunny remembers watching the wise old owl demonstrate this before. He takes a sturdy stick and starts rubbing it against a flat piece of wood, his little paws working hard. At first, nothing happens, just the sound of wood against wood and the occasional rustle of leaves. But Bunny doesn't give up, he's got determination. He pushes harder, focusing on the tiny pile of bark, imagining the warmth it will bring. Then, just when he thinks he can't go on, he sees it, a tiny spark. His heart leaps, it's alive. With quick movements, he blows gently on the spark, coaxing it to grow. The flame flickers, then catches on the dry bark, slowly consuming it. Soon, flames dance in the night, casting a warm glow around him. Bunny watches in awe, the flickering light chasing away the shadows. This fire isn't just heat, it's hope. It's a beacon in the darkness, a reminder that even in the coldest, darkest moments, there's a way to find comfort. He sits close, feeling the warmth wrap around him like a cozy blanket. With the fire crackling, Bunny pulls out some berries he had foraged earlier. He places them near the flames, letting the heat do its magic. The sweet scent of cooking berries fills the air, mixing with the earthy aroma of the forest. As he waits for his snack to be ready, Bunny takes a moment to appreciate the beauty around him. The trees sway gently in the night breeze, and for a moment, the strange noises don't seem so scary. The fire dances in front of him, and Bunny feels a sense of peace settle in his heart. He realizes that he's not just keeping warm, he's creating a safe space in the wilderness. In the glow of the fire, he can see the shadows transform into curious shapes, and he feels less alone. Bunny thinks about all the animals in the forest, each with their own stories and struggles. He knows that they too might benefit from a little light and warmth. So, he decides to share his fire. Bunny sat by the crackling fire, the warmth wrapping around him like a cozy blanket. He watched the flames dance, their flickering light casting playful shadows on the forest floor. One by one, his friends began to appear, drawn by the inviting glow and the delicious aroma of berries cooking. First came a curious fox, his eyes sparkling with mischief as he darted into the clearing. "Hey, Bunny! What's cooking?" the fox called out, his tail swishing excitedly. Bunny smiled and gestured to the fire, inviting him to join. Next, a couple of playful raccoons tumbled in, their laughter echoing through the trees. "Did we miss the party?" one of them asked, plopping down beside Bunny. Bunny chuckled, feeling the warmth of their presence as they settled around the fire. Then, shyly peeking from behind a bush, came a deer, her eyes wide with curiosity. "Is it safe to come over?" she asked quietly. Bunny nodded enthusiastically, waving her over with a reassuring smile. As she joined the circle, Bunny felt a swell of happiness in his heart. This was what being together was all about. The forest had come alive with the sound of chatter and laughter, each story shared adding to the warmth of the evening. Rabbit Bunny began to tell tales of his adventures, his friends chiming in with their own hilarious experiences. The fire crackled, sending sparks into the night sky, and Bunny couldn't help but feel grateful for this moment. He realized that the fire was more than just a source of warmth, it was a beacon that brought them together. In the heart of the forest, beneath a blanket of stars, they found comfort in each other's company. The night was filled with strange sounds, but now, they felt like part of the forest's symphony. With each new sound, Bunny felt less afraid and more connected to the magic of the woods around him. "Listen to that!" one raccoon exclaimed, pointing an excited paw towards the rustling leaves. Bunny smiled, feeling the safety of his friends surrounding him. As the fire crackled and popped, he thought about how far they had all come together. They were no longer just a group of animals, they were a community, bonded by the warmth of the fire and their shared stories. The flames flickered brightly, illuminating their faces and the joy in their eyes. Bunny understood then that the fire had the power to transform the night, to chase away shadows and fears. It was a reminder that together, they could face anything that the forest threw at them. As the embers glowed softly, Bunny felt a warmth in his heart that went beyond the flames. It was the warmth of friendship, of hope, and the promise of tomorrow. He looked around at his friends, each one smiling and laughing, and he felt a deep sense of belonging. In that moment, under the starry sky, Bunny knew he was safe, and that was all that mattered. The night deepened, the air filled with the sweet scent of berries and the sounds of their camaraderie. They sat in a circle, sharing stories of bravery and silly mishaps, the fire crackling in rhythm with their laughter. Bunny realized that this was his favorite part of the day, the time when the forest felt most alive. With every flicker of the flames, he understood the magic of the night was in the connections they shared. The forest may transform after dark, but with the fire's glow, they could embrace the night together. As the last of the berries cooked, Bunny prepared to share them, feeling the excitement bubble inside him. He knew these moments were what made life beautiful, the simple joy of being with friends. One by one, they savored the sweet berries, laughter spilling over as they shared their favorite flavors. Bunny felt a rush of gratitude wash over him. This was happiness. With the fire burning bright, he knew they could face whatever challenges lay ahead. The sounds of the forest became less strange, morphing into a comforting lullaby that wrapped around them. As they shared stories and dreams, Bunny found himself getting lost in the moment, forgetting about everything else. In that circle of warmth and laughter, he felt a bond that would last a lifetime. He glanced at the sky, stars twinkling like diamonds, and felt a sense of peace settle within him. The night was still young, and Bunny knew this was just the beginning of many more adventures together. As the fire slowly burned down to glowing embers, Bunny leaned back, feeling content. He closed his eyes for a moment, letting the sounds of the forest wash over him, feeling utterly at home. In his heart, he carried the warmth of friendship, the light of hope, and the joy of knowing they would always have each other. When the first light of dawn broke, Bunny had overcome the challenge. 24 hours in the wild, surviving by instinct, strategy, and unwavering will. Can you find water, build shelter, keep warm, and remain calm? Or will you be overwhelmed by the wilderness? One thing is certain, Bunny's story reminds us that no matter how harsh the world may be, within each of us lies the ability to adapt, persevere, and survive. Sometimes, it's the smallest, quietest creatures like Bunny that teach us the greatest lessons about life. Imagine you are deep in the forest, where everything is new and surprising. You must find water to drink, a place to rest, and keep yourself warm. Every decision you make could determine your survival. Bunny faced those challenges, but with sharp instincts and patience, it found a way to prevail. We can also learn from Bunny's experiences. When you face difficulties, stay calm and find solutions. Nothing is impossible if you have enough determination. Remember, every step in the forest is a lesson. Bunny learned to listen to the sounds of the woods, recognizing signs from nature. This is no different from how we need to listen to ourselves to find the right path. Survival relies not only on strength but also on cleverness and intelligence. Bunny built its shelter with materials around it, showcasing its creativity. You too can find ways to solve problems with your own creativity. As night fell and the cold embraced the forest, Bunny did not give up. It found ways to keep warm using what was available. Remember, in the toughest moments, you can still find ways to hold your ground. Bunny proved that strength is not just about size but also about spirit and determination. We may not be the strongest beings, but we can be the most resilient. Life is like an adventure in the woods, full of challenges and surprises. Always be ready to explore and learn from every situation. Bunny's story is proof that anyone can overcome difficulties if they are determined. Never underestimate your own abilities. Every day is an opportunity for us to become better. Let Bunny inspire you to discover the strength within yourself. Remember that the greatest lessons often come from the smallest things. If Bunny can do it, so can you. Start your own journey today with the lessons from Bunny. Life may be tough, but with perseverance and determination, you will overcome every challenge. Let Bunny guide you on your quest for survival and inner strength. Bunny did it, and so can you. Subscribe to our channel for more updated tips from Bunny's survival tales.